legendary Mr. Skin.
Dude, Mr. Skin.
MrSkin.com.
Skin, everybody.
Coast to coast from Los Angeles, Chicago, and New York, it's the Mr. Skin Podcast with your hosts Mr. Skin, Jimmy Fela, and Andrea Lowell. We want to hear from you. Call the show and leave us a voicemail at 484-SKIN-POD. Find all things Mr. Skin Podcast online at MrSkinPodcast.com.
Welcome to a celebratory episode of the Mr. Skin Podcast. Not only is it Black History Month, but Playboy has gone nude again.
Yay!
There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Donald Trump in office 3 weeks, and America's already great again. Would you see that? Good afternoon, everybody. Jimmy Fallon here in the building, joined, of course, by the great Andrea Lowell.
Hey.
Lowell. Did you see what I did to you there? Lovell. Because I was trying to call you my lover. That was like a Freudian slip.
I'll take it, baby. Yeah, how are you?
Andrea, better now, Lovell.
Awesome.
And, of course, the great Mr. Skin in Chicago. Skin, how are you, champ?
Hey, guys. Doing great. How are you?
Great.
I'm in great spirits. I know we're going to get to this in a minute, but I saw this Playboy headline because Cooper Hefner tweeted it.
Yeah, it's funny because the story broke after we recorded last week, and I was like, I got to talk about this. And you mentioned the Black History Month. Another thing, too, is so next week when we do our podcast, it's going to be all about the Anatomy Awards because it'll be the day after the Oscars. That's when I'm launching my Anatomy Awards. So we're going to have Anatomy Awards next week. It is February, and I needed to do my Black History Month tribute. I wanted to talk about the hottest black girls at MrSkin.com. But we'll get to that in a second. But isn't this is like... It's so funny because this one-year experiment that Playboy tried of no nudity in the magazine proved once and for all that no one actually reads Playboy for the articles. Is this not the truth, right?
I mean, pretty much.
You know what's so funny? They tried to say, they're like, well, so far, when they first passed this new, this new ideology, they said like, well, so far, sales haven't fallen. Yeah, because people were buying it to hide their hustlers in.
To cover them. It's also
guys.
just like another thing that I think about a lot. Like when I was a kid, obviously, Jimmy, you too, like magazines were huge. We didn't have the internet and getting your hands on a Playboy or better yet for more graphic stuff, a Hustler or whatever you found.
Yep.
It was amazing. Like, I don't know, guys. Do you know anyone that buys magazines to look at naked chicks anymore? I mean,
in this day and age,
in this day and age, how many times do you see a Penthouse or a Hustler in a guy's place because he's like, geez, I need to look at nudity. I think I'll walk down to the corner and buy a Hustler.
Now, Skin, this just means you don't hang out with enough Amish people.
Okay.
Because I have Amish friends. There is no golden age of internet porn to the Amish.
Right.
I would imagine that's who's buying. I mean, really, who else is buying this stuff?
Well, there's this kind of, I don't even know what to call it. It's like a league of guys that are so fanatical about seeing who the next Playmate is or seeing who the next Penthouse pet is or like just looking forward to that new centerfold every single month.
Yes.
I don't think that they're the ones that, propel the business forward in any way, but there are guys who definitely look forward to that monthly centerfold. But I don't know if that's
right. And remember, Andrew, when we were in Vegas, we interviewed Kelly Holland, who bought and is the CEO of Penthouse,
right.
And that was one of the questions I had for believe me, I'm pulling for her. I want her to do well.
Me too.
I want Penthouse to be the old Penthouse, and I want it to succeed, and I'm all for it. But one of my questions was, is the magazine biz, how do you keep it afloat? Like, who's buying this stuff? And she was positive about it, but I mean, I know that's her job, but that was my number one question is here you are, you're promoting Penthouse, but it's a magazine, and boy, it's tough to compete with everything that's on the internet.
It's absolutely true, but some people really love that feeling of something in their hands that's not a screen. Like for me, I cannot read a book on a Kindle. Yeah. I cannot read a book on an iPad. Yes. I have to buy the book and dog-ear the pages. So I think she's appealing to that. And also she talked about that sense of nostalgia or even the younger kids being like, ooh, what's this? What's a magazine? And there being an interest in it from that perspective. So I guess we're just going to have to wait and see what happens, honestly, because I don't know who's right or what's right, but I just hope they are right.
Yeah, well, Jimmy and Andrea, I want to state this. This is very important, and I know this may be a controversial statement, so brace yourselves.
What?
But MrSkin.com will never go non-nude. I can tell you that.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, but yeah, it was. We'll see how this goes. It'll be interesting to see who the first nude centerfold is and what happens. But I will say it's definitely there'll be some interest in the first nudie issue that comes out. Right?
It's going to be a big deal.
Yeah.
Do they know who has that cover yet or no?
I don't know. I do not know. So we will keep you posted.
Yeah, that's going to
how about Andrea Lowell for first nude centerfold?
I know,
folks. Let's get a hashtag.
They will airbrush if needed.
Oh, come on. You know I don't need any airbrushing.
Hey, hold on now.
No, that was for Jimmy for Play Girl. Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, I'm good. That's for your spin-off site, Mr. Foreskin.
Yes.
Not that I have any. I'm just saying.
We'll wait and
it got
see,
a little weird.
I'm sure it's going to be, the cover's probably going to be a celebrity and the centerfold's probably going to be an unknown fresh face. Hef's True Vision, that beautiful girl next door. So
I hope they go. I hope it's Melania Trump. And she just, you know what? She's
I'd
gorgeous.
be down with that, actually.
Yes, it's about, she needs to be celebrated more. I don't care about your politics. We should all agree she's awesome. She's an immigrant. She's a supermodel. She speaks 6 languages and she looks like a Bond girl. We should all be enjoying that. We're missing the boat.
And it'd do great for magazine sales. I'd buy it for sure. Just out of sheer curiosity.
I agree. Well, let's get to what I wanted to dedicate this show to. February is Black History Month. And like I said, I have the Anatomy Awards next week. And I realized I have not done my tribute to the wonderful Black actresses at MrSkin.com. And I even wrote up a little introduction. So I want to read this before I get into my top 10 favorite Black actresses at MrSkin.com. So here it goes. At Mr. Skin, we talk about nudity being a universal language that brings us kind of all of humanity together. And we all know this to be true, but still, it's important that we take the time to single out various groups that maybe don't always automatically get the spotlight in society, even when they're some of the hottest naked actresses to have ever scorched the screen. And that's why for Black History Month, it's very important to me to pay tribute to the great African-American eyefuls who prove that sexy comes in every color. So that's my little tribute to Black History Month.
And Mr. Skin. Yes,
I'm
with
you.
Very excited. Very excited.
I'm excited to get into this.
I worked on this all week, and these are, and I took, they had to be at MrSkin.com. I didn't go with Alina Horn because I want to have, yes, she's beautiful and she was a famous Black singer actress, but I wanted to make it so we could talk about their nudity or at least music videos or whatever it is.
Right.
So what I'm calling this is my top 10 Afrodisiacs, the hottest Black actresses at MrSkin.com. I'm going to go down the list.
For the rest of the episode, I'm referring to you as Martin Luther Skin. I just like it. I just think it's...
I have a wet dream.
Yes. Oh, my God.
I have a wet dream. There it is.
So anyway, and these are... And the other thing, too, is it was fun because you could search at our website, you could search by tons of different ways, big breasts, blonde hair, ethnicity. And I did a search of all our Black actresses, and it was so fun to go through. And number one, it was freaking impossible. I had a lot of girls... these are... Just to give you an idea, some of the girls that didn't make my top 10 list were Robin Gibbons, Janet Jackson, Tyra Banks, Vivica A. Fox. They didn't even make my top 10. And I'm not saying I don't love them and they're awesome, but they're just, I had to narrow it down to 10. And when I was going through, I was like, holy geez, man, we have some beautiful Black actresses at MrSkin.com. So let me start with my countdown in honor of Black History Month. Number 10. Do you guys know who Rosario Dawson is?
Yes,
Rosario Dawson. Yeah, she's and interesting. She's a mix. She's Black. I think she's Cuban, Puerto Rican. She might even have Irish and Native American in her but she's like the most gorgeous mix. And she is the thing about her. The interesting story. She was discovered She was like 15 years old. She was sitting on a stoop, Jimmy, in New York, just probably like you do all the time. And she was 15 years old, sitting on a stoop in Manhattan, and she ended up in that NC-17 film Kids. Do you remember that movie?
Of course I do.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
A crazy movie. But she has maybe one of the great bodies at MrSkin.com, and she did a movie called Trance in 2013, and I was blown away that she did this nude scene. It happened an hour and 1 minute into Trance, where she walks towards the camera completely nude with a completely shaved poontang, and it is one of the most graphic because she shows lips. I mean,
yeah, she does.
Big name actresses rarely show lippage, and this was just a shocker of shockers and one of the great nude scenes of all time. And that's why Rosario Dawson had to make my top 10
Can I
list.
jump in, Skin?
Yeah.
Are those real boobs?
Yes, that's the beauty of Rosario Dawson. Yeah, because she's
You
had those
really
since she
think
was
so?
in the movie. Yeah, because she was in the movie Kids. Yes, and if you see a move, if you see the video, they move too. Though I know they don't. You know how like just something about black actresses, their boobs are just more of a. They're I don't know if they're heavier, stronger. I don't know what
They're
it is.
fuller.
Firmer. Yeah. It's unbelievable. Yeah. And, like I said, one of the best bodies at MrSkin.com, Rosario Dawson.
Wow. Not a hair on her but her head. That is for sure.
Yeah. The only thing I don't like about that is I wish she had a full bush.
It would look great on her.
It would look
don't
really
crack,
good on her,
man.
but I'm glad we get to see the full lippage because it's quite sensational.
Yeah, black sacks don't crack is what we're saying for that. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. Anyway, so she's my number 10 in honor of Black History Month, black actress at MrSkin.com. Now, number 9 is, I got to admit that it was Westworld that just made her become, I become such a fan of her since Westworld. Obviously I've known Tandy Newton for quite a while. She's been nude at my website for many years, but it's something about Westworld that really just made me a huge fan, and it was one of the things that got her into my top 10 list. Is I think she's 44, 45 years old. She's British, which is extra sexy.
Yes.
And if you watch Westworld, she's done a lot of clinical nudes where she'll be in the laboratory just laying there completely naked, and she is stunning. And I know she's supposed to be a robot, or a host as they call it on the show, but my God, what a body on her. And I've become a huge Tandy Newton fan since Westworld came out.
Just the fact that she's in her 40s and she's completely naked almost every episode, and playing a robot or playing a host pretty much means you have to have a perfect body because people are paying to sleep with you. They're paying to fantasize with you. And she's able to do that episode after episode. Is just, she's so fucking hot. I'm blown away.
Episode 7 in particular, where she was laying on like I don't want to call it a gurney, but they had her on like this
like an exam table.
And I mean, man, look at that body. And she's 44 years old, and it's just one of the hottest nude scenes of the year as far as I was concerned.
Yes,
can you believe it?
Yes.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah,
and she looks good from
from
every angle. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, no question. So anyway, Tandy Newton, number 9. Let me go to number 8. This is, I had to go. There's a couple of singers on here. They're just too famous and too hot, and they've done some great music videos where they're in various stages of undress. But number 8, I have Beyonce. The media calls her Queen Bee. Looking at her, I'd say Queen Bee Cups, but she is. She was at the Grammys the other night, and I guess she's pregnant with twins, and obviously the breasts are a little bigger now, but definitely one of the hotter black actresses at singers too at MrSkin.com.
Yeah. By the way, what was up with that like virgin sacrifice on a volcano look she had going on?
I don't know. When you're pregnant, what are you going to do? But she's done so funny. She's done some music videos where she's been in a thong and lingerie in one. So it's like these music videos are almost like little mini TV shows, and we have a bunch of that stuff at Mr. Skin, and she just has a killer body.
Yeah,
she's special.
I think she has like an ideal feminine body. You know what I mean? Like just nice and soft, but thick and firm at the same time, if that makes sense. Just like perfectly voluptuous without being too much. She's wonderful.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. No, I got you. So that is she is number 8, Beyonce, on my list of the top 10 black actresses at MrSkin.com. Now, number 7 is Stacey Dash. And I got to tell you, I know she's become a little political and all that, but Stacey Dash is, and I'm never, whatever side you're on, I'm not big on the politics and all that with actresses, but I got to tell you, man, she's definitely in my Niptastic Hall of Fame, no question about it. She's probably most famous for her role on the movie Clueless. Remember, she played Dawn in Clueless, and obviously she's right wing, but it doesn't matter for me. I know I want to say she posed in Playboy too, but what I always remember about Stacey Dash is the movie Illegal in Blue from the mid-90s, which came out. I can't remember. I think it came out. She did the movie the same year as Clueless, but nobody knew about this movie until she became famous. So it was really cool when it did come out, because all of a sudden now you got to see Stacey Dash naked, and it's a great nude scene. And Andrea, you could tell by the nips why she's in my Mr. Skin Niptastic Hall of Fame.
Well, absolutely, and I just love her because I find her so pretty. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she is gorgeous.
I just really
gorgeous,
find her to be a beautiful woman. And I love it when girls that are so just pretty go naked, because they don't need to, but they do because they feel the freedom to. So I really like her.
And if I remember correctly, that Illegal in Blue was like a straight to video. Do you remember when they used to do this a lot in the 90s, these straight to video movies? So she's in a movie that they didn't expect to be that huge, Clueless, and then they slip in this straight to video at the same time, where now she's famous. So that Illegal in Blue became a popular movie on cable TV in the 90s because it had Stacey Dash, who probably when they made the movie were like, paid her nothing. Probably didn't pay her anything, and she did these nude scenes, and then it became a big thing. So this movie aired a ton, especially in the mid to late 90s, and that's why I became a big Stacey Dash fan, and she made number 7.
She's hot enough that you would change your politics for her. Not to get into politics.
Hey, you know how it is. You're a guy. You'll go. You're left wing or right wing depending on how hot the girl is and what sex you could get. We all can agree with that.
I mean,
is that fair to say?
Oh,
is that fair to say?
Absolutely. No, there's no question. I could go to a rally for any candidate. I mean, if based on that alone,
We've all done stupid stuff based on chicks, and I will be the first to admit I'd be right there. So
thank you.
Anyway, as we continue down in honor of Black History Month, going down my list of my favorite black actresses and singers and girls at MrSkin.com, number 6 is Vanessa Williams.
Can I just say,
Andrew's a little young. I know you know who she is, but you're a little young to remember the controversy when I was in college when this happened. She was the first African American Miss America in 1984.
Okay.
And what happened was, a couple of years earlier, she had posed for some pictures. I think it was just a regular photographer. She was modeling, and she posed for these very graphic pictures. I mean there was one where she was licking. Yeah, she was licking another girl, and she was showing vagina and all this other stuff. So then I guess Guccione got a hold of them and printed them in his magazine after she became Miss America, and then after that she was the first Miss America to ever have to step down. It became a big controversy, and that was, I remember George Burns was on the cover. They did an article, George Burns, and there was a headline that said, "Oh God, she's nude." Remember, George Burns was "Oh God," and this was a huge deal. But she luckily was able to rebound, and obviously through the years has been in many movies and television shows. And if you see her today, she's a beautiful, beautiful actress. But those pictures that she did really hurt her from the standpoint of losing the Miss America, but it probably also
helped her in a way.
Very, very, it helped her in a way too. I guess you could look at it.
It also shows you how far we've come as a society, because nowadays she would probably win for this exact reason. There would at least be a movement not to give her a hard time. And I'm proud of our country that we've evolved on this.
Yeah, they even it's funny you say that, because the Miss America pageant apologized to her a couple of years ago.
Yes.
I think they reinstated her, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, that makes me so happy to hear. Because when you're a beauty queen or anyone and you're vying for something so bad and you win, and then, something you thought might have been private or for a photographer that wasn't going to go anywhere comes out, and it's just like you feel devastated, like hopeless. Yeah. Yep. So that's just really sweet that they've come around. But yeah, these pictures are no joke. I've known of the controversy, just, hearing about it. But yeah, I was too young to be present for it, but I've never seen these photos, Skin. I've never went online and looked them up.
Oh, really?
I'm a little blown away. I mean, I wasn't expecting all this.
Yeah, it's pretty graphic stuff. So
I mean, it's hot, if you haven't seen, like, I'm loving it. I can't stop staring. I'm like zooming in and stuff.
Yes. All right. Now, my number 5, in honor of Black History Month, my number 5 hottest Black actress. This is one I've had a crush on forever. It's Lisa Bonet, who actually, interesting. Lisa Bonet showed up out of the blue in Ray Donovan in 2016 and was getting banged from behind. It was a pretty graphic sex scene, man.
It was
it was like it came out of nowhere.
Everyone loved it, but Lenny Kravitz. He'll still beat up about it.
He's like, he's probably like, do what you got to do. But so interesting thing about Lisa Bonet. So obviously she's best known as being Denise Huxtable on the Cosby Show in the 80s. So then she's on the Cosby Show, and she's a free spirit, right? That's always been her thing. And
totally.
She got into that movie Angel Heart. Do you remember that, Jimmy, from the 80s?
With Mickey
Rourke? Yeah.
Yes, with Mickey Rourke.
Yeah, so it was kind of a horror / drama, and she does this sex scene that was so crazy, so graphic, so nude that number one, it became one of the great nude scenes of all time.
How nude was it, Mr. Skin?
Oh my God, she showed it all. But Bill Cosby got so mad that he booted her off the Cosby Show and into her own sitcom. She remembered she spun off into a different world. And
He got so mad he asked her to talk it over a glass of wine. Dirtbag.
No,
he was just mad that she was awake during the sex scene. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
No, but how is it a punishment to be like, I'm going to take you off my show, but I'm going to give you your own brand new show? Like, how is that even?
So she was so famous. She was so famous that he didn't want to. He thought that she would ruin the family values.
Oh, I got you. Guilty by association. Now. Okay.
Yeah. So he moved her to her own thing to kind of differentiate her from the Cosby Show. But it's so ironic looking back.
Totally.
And anyway, but if you haven't seen the nude scenes in Angel Heart, check it out. That's one of the very popular pages at MrSkin.com, Lisa Bonet's page. So she's number 5 on my list. Number 4, honor of Black History Month. My fourth Afrodisiac, hottest Black actress, is Kerry Washington, who has done 5 movies where she's nude. She's probably most famous as the star of Scandal on ABC, where she plays like a DC fixer, Olivia Pope. But yeah, I'm a big fan of hers. She did. She's been in a few movies. I'm trying to think, what pictures did we show you guys? She was nude in She Hate Me. She also did a movie called Last King of Scotland, which I consider one of the great butt shots in movie history. Check her out laying in the bed in Last King. Is that
comes
not an incredible
out. It's so high. I just want to sit on it and bite it. Like, I really just want to sink my teeth into it. Is that weird?
No, not at all. It's one of the great. That's where I think Forrest Whitaker played Idi Amin in that movie.
Yes.
And there's a scene. She's literally laying on the bed, and we have a playlist where it's face down, butt up. Girls that are laying nude on a bed or on a floor or whatever. And this is top of the list because her butt is ridiculous. But yeah, Kerry Washington's number 4 on my hottest Black actresses at Mr. Skin.
Yeah, gorgeous. And the scene where She Hate Me, she's getting like really fucked hard.
Yeah, I know. She does take it in that one.
Yes. Yeah. So we tried to give you a little taste of all her best nude scenes, but
you did it right.
So let me go to number 3 because if I had to say of the list what girl I'd want to have sex with the most,
I thought this would be your number 1 for sure, dude.
Well, the only reason she's not number 1 is I don't think she is famous enough as far as enough people know her. So I didn't want to, put too much of my Mr. Skin perversion into this. But Pam Grier at number 3,
I love her.
Is she was more obviously more famous in the 70s, but she was I guess they called it blaxploitation films, drive-in movies like Coffee, Foxy Brown, Black Mama, White Mama, and these were like, if you had cable TV in the 80s, they'd play these movies all the time, and you'd be blown away by this beautiful black actress named Pam Grier, who was a star of many of these films. And my body type, what I'm into, Pam Grier has. I mean, this is.
I don't know anyone that's not into that body type.
Oh my God, it's ridiculous.
Her boobs are perfection. It's like, I mean, to me, when I see Pam Grier, I immediately go, "That's Mr. Skin's favorite boob." Like,
yeah, and listen, if like I said, as far as who I'd want to hook up with, Pam Grier would definitely be number one on the list. But as far as like looking at it, historically,
and she's pretty
level of fame, all these different, looking at it from many different angles, I put her at number 3. But it is what it is. But yeah, and what was cool about her too, Jimmy, you remember Jackie Brown?
Yes, I was just gonna say Jackie Brown is like her masterpiece. She's so
it was
great.
Her big
in the movie.
comeback, and that was Quentin Tarantino, and I love that movie. And get this, do you know that that's 20 years old, Jackie Brown?
Really?
Already? Isn't that freaky?
Jackie Brown is 20 years old. Wow.
Yeah, it's like came out in the 90s.
You know who doesn't age? Michael Keaton. Not to get off message, but he looks the same.
Yep. Yeah, so Jackie Brown came, I think it was 1997. Yeah, it's this year. It'll be 20 years old. That's pretty incredible. So anyway, you're talking to one of the biggest Pam Grier fans, but I have her at number 3, but I do want to tell you who is ahead of her on my list at number 2. Now, yeah, I got to say Rihanna is one that, and obviously she's more a singer, but she's been nude in her music videos. I don't know if you've seen some of these Bitch Better Have My Money. I don't know if you know that one, but you don't get to see the likes of a Rihanna naked too much, but in her music videos, she's done some really sexy stuff, and there's no question she's one of the hottest babes out there. I think, was it Jay-Z that discovered her?
Yes. Supposedly they had a thing. And that is why Jay-Z's Solange Knowles, Beyonce's sister, beat him up at the Met Ball
in the elevator?
Years ago.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's why
supposedly,
Rihanna?
Supposedly, Andrea, they had a thing when he first met her, and the night of the Met Ball, he was going to her party, and I guess it was still considered like a threatening gesture to do that all those years later, because she's Rihanna. And if you've ever followed Rihanna on Instagram, the most shocking thing she does is put her clothes on. Like she really gets after it,
Well, I gotta say too, is like with these singers, and I'm not just talking these black singers, but just singers in general, all the dancing and everything. Some of the hottest bodies at MrSkin.com are these singers. And Rihanna's not only beautiful, her body's ridiculous, and she actually has done some decent nude scenes through her music videos. So that's why I included her in the list. And she really is a spectacularly looking babe. She's fantastic.
Yeah, she's gorgeous. I didn't know she though was the reason for all that drama. So that's interesting to know.
Yeah, supposedly she was. And
Jimmy has good housewife gossip.
And
I get all the
like,
gossip. Don't forget.
Who's your source?
You want to know what? I used to drive a cab, and one of my favorite things to do is pick up backup dancers. Over by like Ripley Greer Studios on 8th Avenue in New York City.
Really?
That's where they all rehearse like their choreographed numbers for their videos and stuff.
Now, would you just circle the place?
Well, it's funny. You know what it is? It's like 3 blocks away from Penn Station, so you're just always over there.
Right.
Okay.
And literally anytime you pick up like a really flamboyant gay dude on 8th Avenue, he's coming from dance rehearsal. And if they get in and they just exhale a like, you know what I mean? Like sigh, you're like, oh, this is going to be some good shit. And I once heard, it was so funny. I once heard a gay dancer call Usher a euphemism for gay for like 120 blocks. It was the funniest thing in the world to me. But yes, that's why it was intentional. I looked for them, Skin.
Wow.
That's great.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's fun.
Well, I love it because you give us the inside scoop.
Yeah, anytime you could work in your cab driver stories, I love them. I love your cab driver story. Like, who was it you had? Was it Pacino in your back of your car? Yeah, but, that's awesome.
Him, Dennis Hopper. Yeah, that's another whole episode.
Yeah,
we need one Jimmy cab story an episode.
I like it.
Yes. All right. Well, we've come to the number 1 of my Afrodisiacs, the hottest black actresses in honor of Black History Month. And I got to say, when you factor in everything, celebrity, Oscar-winning actress, beauty, boobage, nudity, best R-rated sex scene in the history of movies.
Wow.
You got to go Halle Berry as your number one. She's technically half white, so but still, she is a black actress. And Monsters Ball was the movie where I just couldn't believe it. It was cool when she did Swordfish. So remember in the 90s, she was in like a bunch. Everyone knew she was hot, and then she was like in the Flintstones, and you're thinking, okay, it's never going to happen. Halle Berry will never do a nude scene. And then all of a sudden, the same year Swordfish comes out, they paid her like $500,000 to do a brief topless scene, but it was so cool in that Swordfish with Hugh Jackman.
Oh, absolutely. And, that was so amazing when she revealed
Hugh Jackman
that.
When you watch that. She got paid $500,000 to do that. And then the same year Monsters Ball comes out, and that sex scene with Billy Bob Thornton, I still consider the greatest R-rated sex scene of all time. She won an Oscar for that, first black actress to win a Best Actress Oscar, Best Actress Oscar, not supporting. And it was just amazing. And when you factor in everything, the beauty, the nudity, the sex scenes, you got to go Halle Berry.
The quality
and the
of the body.
Halle Berry is number one. Yeah,
her boobs are so amazing. I love them. I always have loved them. But you're right. It's everything. She has everything. I was like, how is skin going to top Pam Grier? And now I get it. It's the total package, baby.
Yeah, like Pam Grier, as much as I love her, she's more of, other than, the comeback with the Tarantino movie, Jackie Brown, she's really more of a drive-in actress. Don't get me wrong, that's my wheelhouse.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're putting a list together of the hottest actresses at MrSkin.com, you got to factor in celebrity too. And Halle Berry is, without question, the most famous, hottest, best breast, best sex scene black actress at MrSkin.com. No doubt.
And she deserves, on top of that, even if one of those weren't true, just the hustle points she deserves for that scene.
Sir. Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
Because that is a gangster scene.
There's a European version of that scene, which we have at our website that's actually even more graphic. Like there were some different angles, and we actually just recently found I think it was a VHS thing, an open matte VHS version of that scene where you could see, the question has always been, I get it a lot, were they really having sex during that movie? And you could actually see Billy Bob's balls hanging, and it's really like they weren't wearing
cock socks and stuff.
The patches. They weren't wearing cock socks or anything. It really is a stunning nude scene, sex scene, and it's just one of my favorites of all time.
Yeah, that's great stuff. I mean, you can't. No one's arguing.
No, I have nothing else to say.
If there's a controversy over that,
what do you think?
We're finished as a country. If there's a controversy over that,
I agree. Well, listen, I wanted to make sure I honored in my own perverted way the hottest black actresses at MrSkin.com, and that was the reason for this list. So I did want to make sure, and we'll get back to after the Anatomy Awards. I'll have a big load to dump on you guys of all the movie nudity and TV nudity.
Promises.
So we'll have a ton
Just tell
to
me
talk
first.
about. But give me a little warning. I'll have windshield wipers available. But so next time we talk, we'll be doing my 18th annual Anatomy Awards, and I am so excited to present it to you guys because it was an amazing year in nudity, and we found so much fun, crazy stuff. You're not going to believe the stuff we found. And we'll also have best breast, best butt, best full frontal, all the categories we have every year. So it'll be a great list. We'll have a lot of fun next time we talk.
Well, I cannot wait for
I'm
that.
Excited. This was
all right, guys.
Fun. I'm going to go honor the nominees in my own way now. Enjoy the rest of it.
I think I'm going to stay on this website for a while, actually.
Good talk.
All right,
lots
guys.
of fun, everybody. I'll see you next week.
See you guys.
Take care.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
This concludes another scintillating episode of the Mr. Skin Podcast. Subscribe to the Mr. Skin Podcast in iTunes and never miss a show. Thanks for listening.